This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Aaron James, and this is your Rangers' latest news channel. Guys, it's Monday morning. It's not a good Monday morning, though, is it? Let's face it. I'm at work. That's not great. And also, it was an absolutely shocking Sunday. And it's just sort of set the week off great, isn't it? And sympathies to any of you who've got to go into offices and workplaces today that are full of Celtic fans and have to put up with their mindless banter and their mindless Mickey taking, which will obviously happen today. Look, I mean, we spoke on podcast last night about the performance. I just want to kind of genuinely talk a little bit about where we are and ask, is Philippe Clement losing the plot? Is Jack Butland losing the plot? You know, where is this club going? Where are we going? You know, that is the big question. We look at it as it stands today. This is the league table as it stands on Monday morning. Celtic sit top on 12, Aberdeen second on 12. It's Aberdeen unbeaten still this season. Probably won't last, but, you know, I suppose if you're an Aberdeen fan, looks good. Dundee United sit third on 8th. Rangers sit fourth on 7th. Motherwell 5th on 7th. Dundee 6th on 6 points. Then it's St Mirren, St Johnstone, Hibernian, Ross County, Hearts, who have only 1 point. Guess who that 1 point came against? Yes, you're right, Rangers. That doesn't look such a good result now, does it? Given the fact that they've lost their 3 other games, and Killy bottom on a point. So look, I mean, let's just look at this for a situation at this moment in time. We sit 4th in the table. That's right, 4th. It's a bit of a, for me, it's a bit of a, I don't know, like a flashback to the 1980s. It really is. You know, Dundee United up there, Aberdeen up there. Yeah, a bit of a flashback to the early 80s, isn't it? You know, the days of the Jim McLeans and the Sir Alex Fergusons. But it's not happy reading, and it's not good reading for Rangers fans. And look, when is it acceptable for Rangers to be sitting 4th? Yes, I know we've only played 4 games, but that is reflective of us as a football team, not just this season, but towards the end of last season. The form since from March has been very, very poor. You know, it has been really, really poor. You know, when is that acceptable? When is that ever acceptable for a team like Rangers to be in 4th place, to be some 5 points at this stage of the season behind Celtic and 5 points even behind Aberdeen? Now, Chris Boyd said on the post-match on Sky Sports yesterday, as far as he's concerned, Rangers can forget Celtic. That is done, dusted, gone. Forget it. The gulfing class is too big. That's what he said. And he said, as far as he's concerned, Rangers are in a straight fight for 2nd place this season. Now, this is a guy who, you know, loves the club. This is a guy who is Rangers to the core. This is a guy who, you know, bleeds red, white and blue, and a guy who, you know, suffers like we do when the team plays poorly. So you know that he's feeling it. You know that he's angry, and you know that, like us, he's had enough. Now, look, I'm going to put a little bit of a caveat, sorry, sounding like John Bennett again, on these remarks I'm about to make. Well, I understand that we are only 4 games into the season. I understand that it takes players time to bed in. But I'm not commenting on that. What I'm commenting on is the style of play, the organisation of play, and the way we are currently playing, and the way the manager sees that. Now, a good manager, a good coach. Let me make one thing clear. I am not sitting here today saying we've got to sack Philippe Clement. I don't think that is the answer. I don't think that will work in the short term or the long term for the club, because then we're going to be going into next summer needing another rebuild because we've got another manager who doesn't like the players we've got. So look, that's where we're at now. What I'm going to say though is any good manager, any manager who is worth his weight in gold or worth his salt, looks at a team. He looks at what he's got in terms of players, and he organizes said players into a shape, into a formation, and into a style of playing that suits the players he has got. Okay, now he might have a set formation in his head that he likes to play: 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, whatever. He may have that formation, right? So that's his formation. However, he may sit there and he may look at his players and go, right, well, I haven't got a high quality 6. I haven't got a high quality right winger. I haven't got a high quality centre back. I haven't got a high quality right back. So I've got to adjust my team to suit what I've got. I've got to set my team up to be successful, playing with what I've actually got. I've got to organize my team to do the right things on the pitch. I've got to coach them to do the right things on the pitch. And I've got to coach them to make sure they follow those instructions to the letter. So that if you come up against a team who are technically and tactically superior to you, you give yourselves a fighting chance to take them on. Now, look, as much as it pains me to say this, Celtic are at this moment in time vastly superior to us in terms of talent, in terms of ability. They are. They're miles ahead of us. You know, for me, to be a top class team, you need 3 or 4 top stars within your team. Now, I know that Celtic and Rangers can't afford the top stars in the same way. You know, you look down south at Manchester City, you've got 9, 10 of them on, you know, Liverpool, who have the likes of Luis Diaz and the likes of Szoboszlai and Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah. What we've got, for me, is 11 do-a-job players. We've got 16 do-a-job players. We've got 18 do-a-job players. We haven't got a star. We haven't got a player you sit there and you go, yeah, those 3 there, the spine of our team, the core, those 3 there, they're our stars. Okay, they're the ones that are going to light it up for us, change things, make the game better, you know, go out there and take on the other team. And the players around them are going to help and they're going to supplement those stars. Now, you look at top teams, right? You look at Celtic. Callum McGregor runs the game for them. Top player, you know, in terms of his ability. Okay, he played well yesterday. Kyogo, you know, clinical finisher, a guy who, you know, yesterday gives the ball away, tracks back 60, 70 yards to win the ball back just to stop Rangers from getting a shot off. Okay, Rio Hatate, another top class player. Okay, you know, they've got some top class players. Kasper Schmeichel, you know, excellent goalkeeper. So they've got that in their locker. We haven't at this moment in time. So we've got to have 11 players who go out there, who are organized to make things difficult as possible, get in people's faces, work as hard as possible, and reduce the other team down. Now, that is possible. You've seen that, haven't you? You've seen that in games that we play, that they play against teams that are substantially less talented. You see that in the Premier League as well. You see teams go and beat Manchester City, go and beat Manchester United, go and beat Arsenal, Chelsea, and so on, Liverpool, Tottenham, etc., etc. Now, for me, Clement, to me, it is putting a team out there that for 8 to 10 minutes yesterday did a good job. They were organized well. They high pressed. They worked hard. They used the ball quickly, and then it all fell apart. There was no mental strength there. There was no stability there. It just all came apart. Now, when it came apart and it wasn't working, that's when a coach sits, looks at what's happening, and makes changes. He makes tactical changes, positional changes, whatever. He does something different to give the opposition a different problem, to give his team a new impetus, to change the way they're playing. Now, what got me yesterday with Clement was the fact that Celtic were outplaying us. They were absolutely smashing us, you know, all over the park. They were better than us. And he takes off players. Yes, his substitution's way too late in the game. And he plays them in exactly the same formation as we've been playing all game. The same formation that has not worked for 75 minutes, the same tactics that have not worked for 75 minutes. But he thinks that if he puts different players on to play in those roles, it's going to change it. Well, it isn't. And it didn't last season, and it hasn't this season. Now, I don't understand that. I genuinely don't get why he does that. Now, surely he sits and he looks at that and he goes, right, I'm putting Igman on. I'm taking Proper off because he's injured. Right, I'm going to put Sterling in at central defence. I'm going to stick Danilo on as well. I'm going to stick Danilo, Raskin, and Igman on. I'm going to stick Danilo up front with Dessers. I'm going to put Igman in behind them, or I'm going to go with 3. Danilo one side, Igman the other, Dessers in the middle, and then obviously the 3 in the middle. Something different, something to try and change it up, something to give Celtic a different problem. But he didn't do it. He just left it the same. And that, to me, is worrying, is concerning. It's his job. Now, people say, I'll tell you what, the board have let him down. Yes, the board have let him down. I get that, right? But a good coach makes the best of what he's got. A good coach turns a team of average players into good players. And I know there's a saying you can't polish a turd, but you can in terms of organizing a team. You can organize a team to make another team who are better than you technically, their life a lot more difficult. You know, you see shocks in the cup competitions. You see results in Europe where very, very much fancy teams don't go on to win competitions. Manchester City last year didn't win the Champions League despite being favourites. So, you know, look, this is the situation we're in. For me, he isn't seeing the game clearly. He isn't seeing what needs to be done. He's being very stubborn. He's been inflexible, and he needs to change that going forward. Now, what worried me as well was the post-match press conference. Post-match press conference was a joke. It really genuinely was funny. Well, actually, no, it wasn't funny. It was genuinely funny. Funny, you know, well, let's put it this way. You've got to laugh or you're going to go freaking crazy and you're going to lose the plot and you're going to go mad. You listen to Clement talk, and even when he got in an argument with supporters outside Ibrox earlier, he's still holding to this. Statistically, we were as good as them. Statistically, we competed with Celtic. Possession 53-47 was close. Pass stats were close. Shots, they had 4 on target. We had 4 on target. Look, I know he can't come out and throw the players under the bus, but there is a way and means of putting across your message without looking like an idiot. And for me, for him standing there, giving an interview or sitting there, giving an interview saying that we competed with Celtic, we were as good as them, etc., because the stats say that, is completely ignoring what you actually saw on the pitch, was them run rings round us for 82 minutes. Destroy us for the vast majority of the game. And if it had been 5-6-0 to them, it wouldn't have been unfair. It genuinely wouldn't. Look, and I said, I hate saying that because I hate them. I can't stand them. I can't stand their fans. I can't stand their manager. I can't stand their players. I just genuinely cannot stand anything about that football club. But yesterday, they played better than us. They deserved to win the game. And they quite clearly probably should have won 5 or 6-0. But for Clement to sit there and praise our performance post-match, to me, is worrying. And it's being tone deaf, and it's failing to read the room. Now, what does he expect when Rangers fans are booing when they get back to Ibrox, when the podcast that were on the night after, and whether it was whatever podcast you watch, Rangers Review, Gallant Few, Rabble, you read the comments on Club at 22, Blue Sea, Rangers Journal, Not Another, any of those, and you see the same comments being made. Not good enough. Poor play. Team wasn't good enough. Not up to it. Just not good enough. Not acceptable. Embarrassing. And then you come out with the remarks that he comes out with, that we competed with them, that we had 4 shots, they had 4 shots. Possession-wise, we were very equal. That for me is being tone deaf. It's not reading the room. And I'm not saying that you should come and sit there and say we were shit, we should have got beat, we were terrible, we're awful. But there is a way and means of putting across your point without making yourself look like a complete and utter idiot who has completely misread the game, has not watched the game, and has completely misread and is tone deaf to what the fans are actually thinking and seeing. But it's not just the fans, it's the analysts as well. You see Chris Boyd, James McFadden, and I think it was Stilian Petrov in the Sky Sports studio, absolutely destroying the way Rangers played, and quite rightly so. And yes, it's tough to take from Stilian Petrov and James McFadden. But even Chris Boyd saying that the gulf is massive and that it was unacceptable and it was embarrassing. This is not just the fans saying it. These are people who watched Rangers. These are people who've played for Rangers, like Chris Boyd, for example, and I'm sure you'd hear the similar from Derek Ferguson, from Charlie Miller, from a number of ex-Mally McCoist, from a number of ex-professionals who played for us, that is not acceptable, that is not good enough. And to me, it is worrying that Clement is not seeing it, and he's not reading the room, he's not reading the game, he's not reading the squad, and it's worrying. It's concerning. Now, I'm not saying for a minute we sack him tomorrow, because that is not the way forward. We'll just end up with chaos for a few weeks and then whatever. We're going to an international break, and for me, he's got to come out this other side of the international break, and he's got a lot of questions he needs to answer. An awful lot of questions he needs to answer. Prime amongst them, obviously, being what is our style? What is our organization? What is our shape? How do we play? And what is expected of the players? So for me, that's what he's got to answer. He really does need to answer that, and he needs to do something about it sooner rather than later, because otherwise we are going to be, as Chris Boyd suggested on Sky Sports, in a battle for second place, not a battle for the title this season. And I don't want to be in a battle with Aberdeen or Dundee United or whoever else for second place. That is humiliating for a team like Rangers. Absolutely humiliating. We have standards. We have expectations. And yes, it is part of a rebuild. Yes, we are rebuilding. By the same token, though, Rangers are not permitted to be this bad, to play this poorly and show this little desire and this little heart, have this little organization to go after their nearest rivals and their biggest rivals. Unacceptable, guys. acceptable. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, guys. On the way out, if you can smash the like on the video, if you agree with the content, obviously. You don't obviously put your contrary opinion, but obviously keep it respectful. Thanks for watching. As always, remember, we are the people.